Well, Alex, this has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous in a way. A couple weeks ago, we reported on this show, Chasco Middle School in Florida, Land O'Lakes, Florida. They actually had a middle school girl who decided she was a boy. She was immediately allowed into the boys' shower room without notifying the boys. This girl comes in, starts taking her clothes off. The boys march out of the shower room to complain to the male gym teacher, who says there's nothing he can do. Not only is the male gym teacher not able to prevent this, he is ordered by the middle school to enter the shower and watch the girl, the naked girl who thinks she's a boy, shower so that the boys don't harass her. This adult male rightly refused to go into the locker room and watch that little girl shower because, as he said, I could get sued for watching a little girl shower. Yet the high school, the middle school, rather than recognize what they were forcing this employee to do, they punished him. And now we find out a couple weeks later, Alex, in your newest article, that not only are they punishing him, but they're trying to destroy his career on the basis of the fact that he would not go watch this little girl shower. Talk to me about what's happened in the last few weeks.
This is one of those crazy stories that you almost just can't believe it's real. But, as we reported in late October, the details that you just provided, they are trying to force a male teacher to watch a 12, 13-year-old girl shower naked. We used to arrest people for this kind of thing. Then they were going to punish him by sending him to another school. Now we find out, because Liberty Counsel, which is a Christian public interest law firm that has joined on this case to help the teacher here, we find out that the officials at this school, the attorneys for the school board, the director of employee relations, they were plotting not just to remove this guy from the school and send him to another as a disciplinary measure, but to fire him and to have his teaching credentials revoked so he could never work as a teacher in the state of Florida again. That's how petty they are. And in these emails, they say that'll send a good lesson to other teachers that we won't tolerate this kind of behavior. It's absolutely sick.
Well, it's almost like something out of a Scorsese mob movie, the way they pulled this teacher aside, one of the lawyers, and threatened him. If you keep fighting us on this, we're going to we may destroy your career. We may take your teaching credential. You may never teach again. The kind of backhanded way they tried to bully this teacher, how they tried to force him to capitulate to this. Thank God he stands his ground. And thank God for Liberty, who has gotten these public requests to get these emails out there. When you read these emails amongst these administrators, they're not the least bit concerned about the boys who were traumatized, about the girl who has got obviously gender dysphoria, not about the adult male teacher who was ordered to watch a little girl shower in the name of progressive values. They're only concerned about protecting what they believe to be their progressive credentials, their politically correct bona fides when it comes to defending transgender kids' rights to do whatever they want, regardless of consequence.
That's right, and it turns out that the Liberty Counsel now has figured out that this quack psychologist, so-called, at the school has developed their transgender policy, the gender support plan, and this psychologist is being incredibly shady. Doesn't want to share what books they're loaning out to the students behind parents' back. They've got these policies that basically show clear intent with malice to deprive parents, to trample on parental rights. They want to do these things without informing parents. The guidelines specifically say that nobody should talk to parents about what their children are doing at school. They're dressing as the opposite gender or whatever the case may be. So now Liberty Counsel is saying you need to get rid of this quackery and you need to go back to common sense where you use biological reality to define who uses what bathroom and so on and so forth. And the school, of course, is resistant. So this is a very strange situation, but I think it illustrates the broader problem that we have in the government schools across America, and that is that they are run by people whose ideology would be laughed out of the room by people with two brain cells to rub together, and yet inside this bubble in which they live, they think this is all normal and that this is how things should be. So anybody who trusts their children with these people, I think, needs to reconsider their choices.
Is the teacher fighting back? Is Liberty doing this on its own, or are they doing it on behalf of the teacher?
They're helping the teacher. They're also helping the students. Some of these boys, as you mentioned, were traumatized. Can you imagine, changing in the locker room and a girl comes in, like, Wait a minute. It says in one of the documents that Liberty Counsel has made available that the boys were caught with their pants down, literally. That's horrifying for a little boy to have to endure something like that. And so now Liberty Counsel has taken off the cause of the parents, the little boys, and the teacher in this case. And it's far from settled. We'll have to see where this goes, but we will stay on top of it at Freedom Project, at the Newman Report. And I hope parents across the country realize this isn't just isolated to Pasco County in Florida. This kind of battle, this kind of debate is happening in your school district too.
Like you said, the most horrifying aspect of this is at every stage of this, from the moment it happened up until today, their entire premise has been to withhold from parents everything that we can keep from parents about what we're doing with their kids. Let's keep them utterly in the dark. We are ordering you as employees not to talk to each other, not to talk to the students, and not to talk to the parents whose taxes pay your salaries. That's the part that really is incomprehensible to me.
That's right. It's just horrifying on so many levels. And, just before this latest article, we had another one about a whistleblower teacher in the United Kingdom who said she actually came out to the newspaper and said, hey, the school is brainwashing, is tricking children with mental disabilities, with autism, with mental issues into believing they're the wrong gender. And she said, I can't deal with it anymore. And then they're not telling the parents what's going on. It's just incredible. I think she said there were 17 students at her school that now were claiming to be the wrong gender. And the exact same thing is happening in America. In fact, America seems to be pioneering this whole lunacy, and Europe is jumping on the bandwagon with us. But something is very, very wrong here. And parents, this is not the school that you went to 20, 30 years ago. We're dealing with altogether a different animal here. And if you're not concerned about this, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and this is not about identifying or helping a certain small demographic of kids. This is doing everything you can to bring kids forward in the name of social experimentation and progressive gerrymandering of gender. That's all this is. It is colleges at one level and elementary and middle schools now at the other level, using their platform, their almost monopoly on how our kids are educated, to turn them into the kind of kids that they can pat themselves on the back and say, gee, how progressive are we?